If the members would get signed in, and we'll get started right here in just a second. We want to call this meeting of department and agencies to order. And Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for roll call. All right. All right. Madam Clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Chair, you have 5 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to welcome everybody out this morning. And I'm going to open up and ask if anyone has any personal orders. Representative Carringer.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to introduce my 911 director from Knox County, Brad Anders, who was retired city police officer in Knoxville, served on Knox County Commission with me, served as our chairman a few times. And now we are honored to have him represent our 911 board out of Knox County.
All right. Thank you. Glad you're here. And I would like to take a personal privilege too. My 911 director is sitting here in the audience with his mother, and Eric Carpenter. We're glad to have you with us, and make him feel welcome, please. Are there anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to do a couple of little housekeeping items right off the bat. So item number 1, House Bill 2198 is off notice. Item number 6, House Bill 2080 is also off notice. And that brings us to our current calendar, and first up will be item number 2, House Bill 2372 by Chairman Doggett. Motion. We have a motion and a second, and I believe you do have an amendment. Is that correct, Chairman?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, everyone. Yes, sir, I do. The amendment code is 14504.
We have a motion. We have a second on the amendment. So we want to vote to add the amendment to the bill. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? You're on your bill as amended.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee, if I may have a personal order here myself.
You can. Yes, sir.
I've got with me my 12-year-old daughter, Miss Hannah Clay, is with me today, hiding behind the post back here.
Well, we want to welcome you.
I told her that she was going to step over, and she said, "No, Daddy, no, Daddy, no, Daddy." But you know, that's what daddies do.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Awfully proud of her. Yes, that's right. But anyway, back to the bill, Mr. Chairman. On the bill, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Members, this bill authorizes the sheriff, the jail administrator, deputy jailer to refuse or deny acceptance of an arrestee if they come into the jail without obviously being treated, if they are injured and have not received any medical treatment. Requires the arresting agency, if the jailer refuses to accept the arrestee, to obtain medical attention for the arrestee prior to delivery to the jail, and requires the jailer to assume custody if a medical provider releases the arrestee.
All right. We've heard the explanation of the bill. Representative Martin.
Chairman Doggett, I'm just curious, how is this different than the bill we heard from Chairman Russell.
Chairman, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. It is extremely similar.
Okay.
I'm sure it's similar, but my question is, how is it different?
Chairman?
It's not different.
All right.
To be completely honest with you, it is almost verbatim.
You're recognized.
Chairman, I have a question, and it may be for legal services. I just wonder how this works when you have two bills that are similar, saying the same thing, how that works. And I don't know, Chairman, if we need to go out of, I'm just curious how that works. I want to make sure.
My thought is that at some point, as it moves out of moves out of this committee to go into full, the posture of Lowell's, Representative Russell's bill, one of them will be taken off notice at some point.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Fair statement. Yes,
Fair
sir.
enough.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions been called? Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Has every member voted? All right. All right, Madam Clerk, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes, 0 noes, and 0 present not voting.
You move out to full committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Item number 3, House Bill 1925. I'm going to roll it a couple of spaces, about 2 spaces. He's presenting in another committee. Yes, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for legal.
Okay.
If the member is not here, can we take action on a bill?
We can go out of session to hear from legal.
Thank you, Chairman Crawford. I think that's probably more of a parliamentary question for the House Clerk than for legal. I don't know the answer to that, how you would proceed in the absence of a member unless you went through the entire calendar and the member had not shown up.
Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. We're back in session. And we are now on item number 4, House Bill 1885. We have a motion. We have a second. And Chairman Sapicki, you're recognized. And I understand there is amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there's only one amendment, and I think Chairman Crawford has the amendment.
Okay, sir. All right. Which amendment are you? Okay. Okay. Chairman Crawford, you're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I believe it's 015828, Mr. Chairman.
828.
It is. It is.
Okay.
I'll do it. I got it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the amendment be placed on the bill to be discussed.
All right. Okay. Pardon? Yes, Representative Martin.
I'm looking at my notes here. It says Chairman Crawford 015346, but there was another number. What was I just want to make sure I know which one we're voting on.
Okay, we are going to be voting to add, this is an untimely filed amendment. It is drafting code 015828. And we'll need a motion to hear it.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. And all in favor of adding this amendment to the bill, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the bill is amended. Chairman Crawford.
Thank you. I will, since the amendment is now on the bill, I'll let the sponsor explain the bill.
All right. Chairman Sapicki, you're recognized.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for, I got distracted there. Can you tell me what amendment's on the bill right now?
Amendment is 015828.
That's everything. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, that bill is in the proper position right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, very simply, this bill was amended. What this does is it removes online sweepstakes game as a prohibited activity under Section 1 of the bill, which would have expanded the investigative authority of the Attorney General to investigate and issue civil penalties related to online sweepstakes gaming activity as a violation of the Consumer Protection Act. And it does add a new Section 10. It defines what online sweepstakes games are, and it directs a TASER study to perform a study on the online sweepstakes games available in Tennessee and estimate the revenue that would be generated by the state if such games were taxed and regulated, and report the findings to the speakers of the Senate and the House by January 31st of 2027. That's what the amendment does.
Members, we've heard the explanation on the bill. There is someone signed up to speak on the bill. Charles Armistead. Pardon me?
I thought we had had all the testimony about this a week or two ago. If we need to, that's fine. If that's with the committee,
At the
I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
That's all right. We've done called him up here, so we'll go out of session to hear from the witness here. And sir, your mic is on.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah, your mic is on, sir, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. My name is Charles Armistead. I'm the leader of the Religious Coalition of the National Stop Predatory Gambling Foundation. I live in Brentwood. Originally, this bill said that illegal gambling violates the Consumer Protection Act. And now it's amended, I'm not sure what it says. But the Consumer Protection Act tells us that all businesses do not deceive, manipulate, or scam Tennesseans. So yes, we need to stop illegal gambling, and we're in favor of that. At the same time, we need to apply the same Consumer Protection Act to our approved sports gambling companies, because they also deceive, manipulate, and scam sports gamblers. This is how. If we in this room place a bet among each other about a UT Vandy game, no one else, and we're using our knowledge and placing a bet, the losers lose the money and the winners split the winnings. However, when a sports book enters the picture, Dr. John Kent, University of Illinois business professor who specializes.
Sir, this bill isn't about the sports gambling. It's concerning sweepstakes. And we need to stay on the bill. We do need to stay on the bill. Okay.
Okay, I'll stop, but I'll just say this. Whatever applies to the bill also applies to investigating our sports gambling that we have that's legalized, because they also deceive, manipulate, and scam. Okay?
Thank you. We will go back into session. And is there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
Your bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Next up is item number 5 by Chairman Grills, House Bill 1986. We have a motion. We have a second. Chairman Grills, you're recognized. I don't see any amendments on your bill. Is that correct?
Chairman, I believe.
Oh, you do have, I'm sorry, you do have an untimely filed amendment. Is that correct?
I thought it was timely filed, but it may not be.
Came in at 3 yesterday.
Well, that's untimely.
All right, we'll,
You want to roll it to next week, or would you?
no, this is it.
Okay.
The amendment number is 015728.
That's correct.
Do we have a motion to hear this amendment? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We do have a motion and a second. All in favor of adding this amendment to the bill, say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. You are on your bill as amended, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your hospitality in that. With this amendment, this bill would require a county that incurred expenses for criminal prosecution instituted against a state prison inmate because of the conduct they exhibited inside the state prison or institution in that county to provide invoices to the Department of Corrections for reimbursement. It's really just to help protect and save some of these small struggling counties. One of the reasons is Lake County is one of the poorest counties in the state, and that's one that I represent, and they have a state prison there in that county, and they struggle from time to time or from year to year with having to prosecute these cases.
We've heard the explanation. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
Chairman Grills, you're moving out to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
Thank you. We will move back to okay. All right. We're going to move back to item number 3, House Bill 1925 by Chairman Bolso, and Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just ask the committee if we could take Leader Lambert. He's got other bills in other committees. If we could take him up first.
All right. Fair enough. We'll move to item number 20, which is House Bill 2659 by Leader Lambert. We have a motion and a second. And Leader?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, top of the morning to you. I owe you one. Thanks for pulling me up out of order. This is very brief. Every year we have this bill that reopens the window for charitable gaming for those that didn't quite make the deadline. This would open up a 5-day window for those to be able to still be able to apply for their application.
All right, we've heard the explanations. Are there any questions for Leader Lambert? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the board for voting. I guess I better vote too, hadn't I? All right, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
Leader Lambert, you're heading out to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, I hope the next committee is half as kind to be shall have been.
Thank you. Item number 7. Members, some of our other members are having to present in other committees. So at this time, I'm probably going to do a little bit of skipping around. And I'm going to move to item number 10, House Bill 1252 by Representative Travis. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Travis, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. If I could take a point of privilege to introduce someone before I get into the bill.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. With me today, I have some people from my county, 2 great ladies that are come to be with me, and that's Gabby Bruce and Lily Jewell. If you'll stand up and be recognized again.
All right.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
I've had the pleasure of being with them all day, so it's a great thing.
All right. You're recognized on your bill.
I think I have an amendment on this bill, Mr. Chairman.
I believe that is correct. Would you give us that drafting code?
Yes, sir. 013783.
That is correct. It does rewrite the bill. So we have a motion. We have a second on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment to the bill, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. You're on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this bill is a feel-good bill. Tennessee takes pride in having one of the lowest overall tax burdens in the country. However, we rank highest nationally in beer taxes by charging 35.6 cents per barrel. The legislation would begin making Tennessee more competitive by lowering costs for our craft breweries and consumers to $33 a barrel. It would help local breweries and attract new ones to the state. Was saying that this is my last year, so I would like for you to keep this in mind going forward, so Tennessee can grow in a good, positive way. But at this time, I'd like to take this bill off of notice, sir.
All right. Thank you, Representative. House Bill 1252 is off notice. Thank you. And we're going to skip back to item number 8, House Bill 2211 by Representative Powell. We have a motion? We do have a second. So Representative Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you rolling me last week at a personal issue I had to attend to. But I know this bill is about making sure that our children have safe access to essential services such as school and child services. Big issue in my district is a lot of our my constituents, and I know this happens across the state, are afraid to access certain government agencies and benefits because of their immigration status. So this bill simply seeks to provide those children with safe access to the Schools and Child Services Act. And I stand ready to answer any questions.
Chairman Powers, you're recognized.
Question on the bill.
Question has been called. And we are going to vote the bill. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
Chair, I'm sorry, Representative Powell, but your bill fails.
Thank you.
Thank you. So. Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parliamentary inquiry in reference to when the question was called, I guess there was an opportunity for some of us to object to that. How many hands would that take for this particular committee?
It does take 3.
Even in this?
3 to put it on the board. Okay. Okay. I apologize then that I didn't ask for objection.
If you had asked for objections, how many hands again?
It takes 1 to require the vote and 3 to put it on the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move now to item number 13, House Bill 2249 by Representative Johnson. Do we have a motion or do we have a second? I do not hear a second. Okay. Okay, Representative Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2249 is a safe access to care bill. This bill prohibits the Bureau of Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the U.S. from entering into the healthcare facility, physician's office, or a domestic violence shelter type place located in the state. Safe spaces are traditionally recognized as protected due to their sensitive nature that results in additional protections within these spaces because of the vulnerability of the person. So obviously a person experiencing trauma, that is why they're there. And all this does is say that it doesn't prevent people from being investigated or taken for questioning or anything like that. You can get them somewhere else. But for the space and time that they are in a safe space, for the health of our community, that we will not go there. Some examples that are some things that are happening. Back to school vaccination percentages are down, especially for Latino children, from 11,500 in 2024 to almost half that, 5,800 in 2025. When children do arrive at hospitals, they are arriving sicker because they are avoiding it for fear of being intercepted or having interference when they go to the hospital or to the doctor. Some of our community healthcare workers have had patients afraid to leave their house to go to the grocery store. It's even affecting some patients physically with an increase of headaches, backaches, and other stress-related issues or manifestations of that stress. Immigrant victims of domestic violence face the fear of deportation if they report their partner's abuse to authority. Abusers have been known to threaten undocumented partners with not only deportation, but separation from their American-born children if they seek help in a shelter. Overall, this bill maintains the integrity of trust between community and utilizing these local health and safety organizations. Keeping people in fear of reporting violence or getting health care makes all of our communities less safe and less healthy. While people are seeking care for health or domestic violence reasons, let's not increase their trauma. We can investigate them after they receive the services they need at that moment. This bill doesn't prevent law enforcement with a signed judicial warrant from carrying out their duties. This is just saying in cases of investigations, let's not traumatize people further who are seeking care for their trauma.
Heard the explanation on the bill, and Representative Martin.
Move the
you're
previous
recognized.
question.
Previous questions have been called. Is there objection? Seeing no objection, we are voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, take the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
Okay, House Bill 2249 has failed. Next up is item number 14, House Bill 1941, also by Representative Johnson. And Representative Johnson, you are recognized. There's not even, we have a
No,
motion
sir.
and a second. And you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, so what this bill does, it does not prevent us, 1941 doesn't prevent us from cooperating with federal officers. It just ensures that compensation for that cooperation comes from the federal government and not from the state government. I don't think, according to the police officers and the sheriff's officers in Knox County, they're not bored and looking for additional duties. And so if we are asking additional cooperation to enforce federal laws, I believe that all of that money should come from the federal government to pay for the services that we are doing for them, because our folks being paid by the state are also already very busy in what they're doing and keeping the peace and keeping our cities and counties safe. So any additional duties, I believe, should be paid for by the federal government. Tennesseans already pay taxes that go to the federal government by using state dollars to fund a federal program that's almost a method of double dipping. Why are we using state dollars to fund a federal program? Shouldn't the federal government be paying those bills? Like other bills furthering ICE capabilities, this lowers community trust in the institutions that are supposed to provide and protect individuals in this state. Unfair for Tennessee's dollars to be used for a federal initiative that is actively causing harm to the community and to our neighbors. Focus on deportation rather than protecting the safety of Tennesseans. ICE used the Tennessee Highway Patrol as a means to conduct over 600 traffic stops in predominantly immigrant-occupied areas. During this initiative, detainees were physically marked to track who was making the most arrests. Sickening stuff. Per capita, Tennessee was among the most aggressive states for ICE arrest in early 2025. Between January 20th and May 20th, there were 34.9 arrests per 1,000 residents. Only Texas and Florida ranked higher than Tennessee. While our state and local enforcement are already overburdened, we're now having them act as federal agents while being paid by the state or locals to do that work. If they are acting under federal jurisdiction, they should be paid by federal dollars. And I would add that this has a positive fiscal note for Tennessee.
All right. We've heard the explanation. Representative Martin.
Move the previous question.
Previous question, and we do have objections. We are going to vote on previous question. All in favor of previous question, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Ayes have it. So we are voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
Thank you. House Bill 1941 fails. And we were on item number 15, House Bill 1938, also by Representative Johnson. And Representative Johnson, you're recognized. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you. What 1938 does is prohibit state and local governments from entering into a new contract or renewing an existing contract for the provision of correctional services for an inmate under the custody and care of the Department of Correction or local government. What this is saying is as calling for a moratorium on private prisons. We have seen that our private prisons struggle to have the same record that our state prisons do. When we see our comptroller's report and comptroller's audit, there's no question that the private prisons are struggling to keep up with the care and the conditions that we see in our state prisons. Existing state and local government contracts for correctional services are protected. This bill prevents just a renewal or entering into a new contract in the future. It's not saying we're closing private prisons. It's just saying no more at this time. CoreCivic has been found to not treat their prisoners well, especially compared to state-run prisons. Evidence from the key conclusions in the comptroller's audit on the Department of Corrections, the department and CoreCivic house potential aggressors in the same cell as potential victims of sexual abuse in violation of the federal PREA standards. As noted in the prior audit, the department did not conduct or ensure CoreCivic conducted investigations of sexual abuse and sexual harassment in accordance with federal standards and department policy. As noted in the audit, CoreCivic management could not demonstrate that offenders received their required medications. CoreCivic facilities do not offer offenders post-secondary education or group therapy that many of our state facilities provide. All 4 private prisons in Tennessee are owned and operated by CoreCivic. Dixon, a former CoreCivic correctional officer, took notes during her training that detail a culture in which prisoners are dehumanized and guards are rarely held accountable for their actions, and that officers are advised that their well-being depends on viewing inmates not as humans, but as dangerous animals. According to an article by the Nashville Banner, when there is a death within the prison, families are not told details of what happened nor why, fostering mistrust between the people and CoreCivic. Additionally, reports of knife-point robberies, regular overdoses, and demands for money in exchange for the safety of loved ones that are incarcerated have been made. Tennessee Department of Corrections accrued $44.78 million in penalties against private prison operator in a 3-year span. They also had a 146% staffing turnover rate. These companies profit from incarcerated individuals being there, utilizing their services, and would benefit from their staying longer rather than being rehabilitated or ultimately released. The majority of Tennesseans believe that prisons should not be a for-profit business.
Okay, we've heard the explanation. Okay, Representative Martin, I believe you have a question.
Yes, I want to move the previous question.
Previous question's been called. Is there objection? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
House Bill 1938 has failed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Careful consideration.
Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On item number 9, House Bill 0942, I'm pretty sure that we heard this bill last year in this committee and it was defeated. I think it has been inadvertently refiled, and the sponsor has asked that since that happened, that this bill be taken off notice.
Thank you. House Bill 942 is off notice. And don't see some of our other folks here. Without objection, I'm going to move to item number 19, SJR 48 by Chair Lady Carringer. Do I have a motion? Motion. Do you have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, and Chair Lady, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Chairman.
I believe you do have an amendment, is that correct?
Yes, I do. And the number is 015-602. And it does not change the bill. It just changes a date from January 1st, 2026 to September 1st of 2026.
Okay, all right. Without objection, we'll put the amendment on the bill. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of amending the bill, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. And you are on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and
Or
committee.
your SJR, I'm sorry.
Yes, SJR, which I will remind everyone was passed last year in the Senate. But as we all know, 911 is a life-saving service, and our local 911 folks are the first point of contact for our citizens who need emergency responses. Funding of the life-saving 911 service is done through the 911 fee and local property taxes. And for the rumors that have been spreading around this building seemingly like wildfire, this is simply not true that this is a need and not a want. We do have some districts that are in distress right now. And my thing is do we want the forest to catch fire and then we all go running and trying to figure out how we're going to save it and bring it back under control? No, I don't think so. That's not the way the great state of Tennessee operates. So there is a TASER study that is going to be ongoing, which I totally support. Even our 911 people across the state, they support it. But let me remind you all, there is nothing written in the TASER study that speaks to the necessity of this resolution. Nothing. And let me also remind you that 911 was formed under a TASER study, and there's been at least 2 more done since it was formed. So there's just no thing about all of the reserves and how they can go and get all of the reserves and all the money they want. Reserves are set aside for equipment failure, for future technologies. And if you're confused on voting on 911 services, my question to you is, have you spoken to your 911 director and their staff? Because I don't think any of us are experts in that field. That is why they are doing what they're doing. And I can clearly speak for Knox County. I introduced my Knox County director before we started. His qualifications are well above any of us sitting here, and probably next to anyone in the room, except with his other directors. So who am I going to listen to? Am I going to listen to a few grunt people or representatives or whatever? No, I'm going to listen to the experts and the pros. So I do have at least two that I know can come and speak. And if you have any questions on this committee that we did not address from the first time that we discussed this, I would highly recommend that you ask these two gentlemen that are coming. Is there two or three? We got three. That's right. That's right. I would highly recommend that you ask them, fire away with your questions, because you should not leave here today not knowing the answer to your question. And then I would emphasize that you need to get to know your 911 director and know just exactly what's going on in your districts. And as I said, I invited everyone to come over to Knox County because our 911 director does every single year, has all of us and takes us through our 911 center. So if it's okay, Chairman, can we go out of session to hear from our speaker?
I think we've got a couple of
Okay.
questions here.
Okay, and then we can go.
Do you want to, Representative Martin, do you want your question to go to Chair Lady Carringer?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you're recognized.
Chair Lady Carringer, you'd mentioned that there's no 911 that are in distress, and yet.
No, I didn't say no. I
No, you
said there are.
some. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Could you define distressed? What you mean by that? There are some that obviously are distressed in your opinion. How are you defining that?
Chair Lady Carringer.
This is not my opinion. This is fact. And we had a county come over to Knox County, which you were invited and you didn't show, and that's fine. But we had a county come a good little ways to Knox County on that Friday, and they are in distress. They are hurting financially and being able to carry out the services. So,
Representative Martin.
Well, I would argue with your argument that I didn't show. It's not that I didn't show, it's that I didn't come and didn't need to be there. I've talked to the people that live in Hamilton County, and I have talked to the 911 director. And so just because I didn't come to Knoxville doesn't mean that I'm ignorant, I don't know what's going on, and that I'm uninformed, and that I didn't show and I failed my responsibility. Let me go back to my question. How are you describing something, or how is it you say it's fact? So what are the facts that show that something is distressed? Is it that they're in bankruptcy? Is it that they're below $1 million? How is that definition? You say it's a fact.
Chair Lady. Chair.
sit up here and argue with you.
Okay.
I'm not the expert.
Okay, all right.
So
Let's
just.
let's stop right here. Not another word. Representative Chisholm, do you have a question for the chair lady?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we did pass a bill for a task study on 911. My question is, if this bill passed after that task study, if that task study showed that the funds were not needed, will we be able to revert back?
Chair lady?
As I just said, the TASER study is not going to show any of that in terms of funds and all. And these reserves that everybody keeps talking about that they have, they can't use it on anything, only on failed equipment and all. So I have the experts here. I said I have the experts. I'm not the expert. So I have the experts here that you can ask all your questions to.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not an expert on 911 either, but I am an expert on raising fees on the taxpayers that pay the bills. That's what I am an expert on, and that's what I'm here for and what I'm accountable for. And I guess the one question that I had is how many phones, extra lines have been added? And that may be for the experts. How many extra lines have been added and hence dollars have been put into this system in the last few years? And Chairman, I'll defer to you whether that should be for the sponsor or the experts.
I think that we probably need to call up some of the folks that are here to testify on this. And without objection, we'll go out of session. And we're going to call up Brad Anders and Curtis Sutton and Eric Richmond. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to butcher your name. And if you gentlemen would have a seat, it is, I guess we will start with Brad Anders. And Mr. Anders, you're recognized. Your mic should be on right there.
Yes, sir.
And if you would just to state your name and who you're with.
I'm Brad
For the
Anders.
record.
I'm sorry. I'm Brad Anders. I'm the Executive Director of Knox County 911 and Chairman of the Tennessee Emergency Communications Board.
All right. And sir,
I'm Curtis Sutton. I'm the Executive Director of the Tennessee Emergency Communications Board.
and Mr. Richmond.
Eric Ritzman, Executive Director of Cumberland County 911 and
Okay.
Vice Chair of the Emergency Communications Board.
Okay. And Representative Martin, I believe you have a question for.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just repeat the question. I'm curious, in the last 5 years, how many lines have been added and how does that play into the amount of resources that y'all are able to add?
And would you like to take that one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, you're recognized.
So we don't collect the fee itself. That comes to the Department of Revenue. We don't have that actual information. Revenue would have that information. However, from the last fiscal year, 24 to 25, we've only seen a 1.5% increase in revenue.
Representative Martin.
And is that based upon additional lines since you haven't had an increase? Would that be a good assumption or could it be another reason?
It would. All lines in Tennessee are right now are at $1.50, whether they be cell phone, landline, voice over IP. And so any increase would be increase in the number of lines in the.
And I don't mind you going back and forth as long as one don't start talking over the other.
Sure.
Okay.
So let's say someone moves here from California and whatever the area code is out there, but they're living in Tennessee. Are they paying that $1.50 here or because they bought that phone and had set that service up in California, is it being paid there? I'm just curious about that.
You're recognized.
The billing address dictates the revenue. So if it's a Tennessee address for the bill, regardless of whether the phone was bought in California, regardless of whether it still has the California area code, if it's being billed in Tennessee, it will be billed at the current rate of $1.50.
Okay. I believe next up we have Representative Chisholm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if this bill did not pass, and how long, well, for you all's operating budget, how long would it sustain if you all did not have an increase?
Okay. All right.
I think there are some districts that are currently operating and in the red a year at a time or 2 years at a time, and then they'll stop with their progress, right? So they don't go into 3 years of distress. And so some districts would, I mean, there's a district that I know of, fully aware of, that there's $600,000 in the hole this year. And so, I mean, I don't know at what point do you want the phones to stop ringing? We don't want to get to that point. And so this is a measure to understand the trajectory of where we're headed in the last 3 to 5 years. We've had multiple districts go in the red multiple years, and we want to try to prevent them from getting to where we were back in 2020 when we had to raise the fee as well.
Representative Chisholm.
So with the most recent catastrophes in the state, how much of a hit did 911 take during that particular time? Was it an ice storm or snowstorm, I believe?
So
go ahead. Yeah.
We didn't have any downtime during the ice storm. 911 during the hurricane in East Tennessee and also during the ice storm in Middle Tennessee. We had that we're aware of. We had no loss of service.
Okay.
Okay. Last question. If this did pass, and again, there's a TASER study that's going forward. If that TASER study showed that the funds that we just approved they aren't needed, would you all be willing to retract it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the TASER, the questions in the TASER study, I do not believe will give us those answers. And I can assure you that, I'll give you an example, Representative Chisholm. Most of my equipment or contracts for our equipment has a 4% increase yearly. The funds that, and most of the districts have that 2 to 5% increase in their contracts. The funds that you collect today won't cover that, 4 years from now, 5 years from now. It may not cover that new technology. And so those are the things that we have to forecast out and look at. It's not just what you have today. And I don't think by the time the TASER study is done and we did a reevaluation and also looked at the cost of some of the concerns of consolidation, I don't think there'll be any leftover money.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. All right.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And if it would be all right, I have a couple of questions if we're running dialogue. Is
That
okay?
will be fine.
All right.
That will be fine.
My first question is, how are you guys being paid to receive the money you're getting off the phones? How are you getting that surcharge? Does that go to the state and you get paid once a month, or is it a year, or?
Thank you. The Department of Revenue collects that from the telephone companies, and then they remit that to the Tennessee Emergency Communications Board, and then we remit that to the local emergency communications districts every other month. And it's based on a formula set out in the statute.
So in other words, not each 911 center is receiving the same amount of money. There's a different for each one, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, my next question is, are we being charged for this now?
At the rate of $1.86?
Yes.
Yes, sir. There have been, we found 2 instances where we have, people have been charged at $1.86, which is, the current rate is $1.50. The Senate passed this last year. I think there was some misunderstanding by some of the telephone companies and cable companies, and they went ahead and charged their customers at $1.86 for at least for January.
So my understanding is we are set at $1.50 is the rate. And for the last 4 months, I can look at the bill and I can see I'm being charged $1.86. So how has that affected the returns off of the surcharge? Are you guys receiving more money than you were now?
So we have not, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
So we have not, as far as I know, we've not received the revenue from the Department of Revenue yet. So I can't really answer that question. Revenue would not send January and February's collections to us until March. So we haven't seen the numbers yet.
Okay. I guess my final, it's not really a question, but it's a statement. How can they legally charge us 1.86 when the number is set by the legislature at a 1.50?
I honestly can't answer that. I think it was a mistake. They're probably going to have to make their customers whole in some form or fashion, but I don't know how those companies will be doing that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, you've answered the questions that I may have had. Chairman Crawford had those questions, and you've answered those.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further questions for the guests? Thank you all for being here. We'll go back into session. And is there any further questions? Representative Chisholm.
Move previous question.
Move previous question. Without objection, Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, take the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 6 ayes, 1 no, and 1 present not voting.
Chair Lady, you move on to full committee.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to all this wonderful committee.
All right, I see Representative Salinas is here in the room with us. And Chairman, Chairman, do you mind if I take Chairman Blow? Because he's number 3 on the calendar, and then we'll move back. Okay. All right. Item number 3 is House Bill 1925 by Chairman Bolso. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Okay. We have a motion and a second. And is there any amendments?
There is no amendment,
No
Mr.
amendments.
Chairman.
Okay. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the committee. This bill is titled the One America Act because it seeks to reimagine the way we handle immigration enforcement in the country. And ultimately, I'm going to request that the committee send this to a true summer study so that we can really do some work here in Tennessee on trying to develop a partnership with the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service about how to handle immigration matters in Tennessee. As many of you know, the federal government has completely preempted the area of immigration with the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, leaving state governments almost powerless to do anything with regard to immigration, either having folks come in or having folks leave. And we have developed something of a partnership with the White House through our Republican caucus leadership. And that's served as, I think, as a good model. And so what my hope is that over the course of the summer, we can use our state departments of safety and homeland security working with the USCIS to bring us back to a place where we truly have one America, or we don't have one part of society that is visible and another part that's in a shadow that lives in fear that's invisible. And that, Mr. Chairman, is the nature of this bill and my request.
Okay. All right. We have a request for summer study. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of sending House Bill 1925 to a summer study, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Chairman Halsey, I'm going to go ahead and take some Representative Salinas up if you don't mind. I know your number was ahead of hers, but she, do you don't? Okay. Okay. Well, now he's a hard act to follow. I'll just tell you. Yeah. We've seen him in action. He's hard man to follow. Chairman Halsey, we'll go ahead. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, committee.
We have a motion and we have a second. This is on House Bill 447. And okay, the bill has been amended already. And of course, we rolled it. So you're on your bill as amended.
Yes, sir.
You're recognized.
Thank you, sir. There'll be a lot of folks that really don't like this bill, but what it does, you have 51 people. Oh, this is so not me to use a telephone to look at something. This is just awful. There are 57 positions in the penitentiaries, 10 existing penitentiaries, not counting the 4 private ones. The deal with investigations, deal with investigating crime, deal with gang activity, deal with everything that's wrong. But they are all under the oversight of TDOC. Now, what this bill does, it takes these 57 people. They still do the same job they've always done. They still do it in the same place they've always done it. It just takes them out of the umbrella of being under the umbrella of TDOC and puts them under this discipline oversight committee that we established that will have a director that will oversee these folks, and they will report directly to them and directly to the legislature. Now, the reason that this is necessary is because an institution, a penitentiary, where you lock 22,000 men up is just a breeding ground for corruption. It's just designed that way. You can't get around it. Doesn't mean every person working for TDOC is corrupt. I'm not saying that at all. It is just a hotbed for corruption. And so it's very difficult when you investigate crime going on in an institution to maybe sometimes get a clear picture, because there can be a lot of great deal of pressure from gangs, from inmates, from everybody else to not report correctly, to not report everything, to hide information, to not disclose it in a timely fashion. And state institutions a lot of times are reluctant in sharing that information or sharing it correctly or all of it. So this is an effort to fix that. And the reason that it's commonplace is because in police departments, Chairman Crawford will tell you, in the department we came out of, if you have an officer that's in an accident, a car wreck with a cruiser, you don't work that wreck when your department, because you don't want any view that this is a tainted, biased investigation. You call THP to come in and do that, or you call the county to come in and work this wreck. If you have an officer that's corrupt and he's charged with some form of corruption or criminal conduct, the police department or sheriff's department doesn't investigate their own people. You call in a TBI, they come in and they investigate. Well, TDOC is different. You've got these 57 investigators in these institutions, but they are underneath the umbrella of TDOC. And you don't have that same kind of transparency that you have in other police agencies or organizations where you get an outside independent agency to come in and investigate these accusations. So this is not an accusation against TDOC. TDOC's got their hands full. I could not do what they do, but this is a good way to fix this. And a lot of times reports coming from incidents of rape, of drugs, of gang activity, of homicides, of suicides, a lot of times that information is very, very slow coming. As you've probably noticed, you call and ask a question. A lot of times it could be quite some time before you get an answer or a documented answer. There's another interesting thing. During the COVID shutdown of all the institutions, the penitentiaries, when they were shut down and no civilians were allowed to come in for several months, the drug trade, the violence, the overdoses all continued unabated, which tells you we got a problem. You talk to people who have people in the penitentiary, and you get calls from them all the time, just like I do, and they're being extorted on a pretty regular basis by gangs. There's a lot that needs to be fixed. I think a good step to start that direction is to pull these people out from under the umbrella of TDOC, put them under a separate organization, and they'll have their own supervisor who will oversee all these investigators. And I think you would see a huge difference in the amount of information you get and how quickly you get it. That's pretty much what it does. There's a physical note on here that's huge, and I don't understand it because I'm not sure that the physical review understands it. But you got 57 people who are now getting paid. They're already budgeted. You're going to move them under this new umbrella. This money just goes from here to here. So there's no new money. But it's like the physical note shows that there's new money and there isn't. So that's pretty much the whole focus of it and what it does and the reason for it.
All right. All right. We've heard the explanation of the bill. First on my list, I have Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Chairman Holdley. It's 57 individuals. Who hires them currently?
TDOC hires them.
Oh, the commissioner basically is their boss.
Yes.
And you want to move them under somewhat of an independent group. Who will they report to?
They will report to a director of investigations that operates under the executive director of this newly created board we created 3 years ago called the Disciplinary Sentencing Credit Oversight Board. They're already in existence. And all these 57 people would report to this director of investigations that would operate under that board.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It's just a different real estate.
Okay.
They're still in the same place they've always been. They will just answer to this new umbrella.
Next up, we have Representative Martin.
Chairman Halsey, the 57 people you're talking about there in the state prisons, the 4 other private prisons, how are they investigated? Are they touched in this, or are they taken care of in another section of code?
They're not covered by this bill because they're under contract with TDOC on a whole separate set of rules. They do have their own investigations. I know they do that, but they're really not going to be affected by this bill.
Okay, thank you.
If you're interested, here's these 57 positions. The Office of Investigations and Conduct has 1. The Office of Investigations and Conduct for OIC is 1. The Office of Investigations of Conduct Special Agent in Charge is 3. 4 special agents from each region of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. The Office of Investigation and Conduct, there's 12 of them. The Office of Investigations and Conduct Institutional Investigator in Internal Affairs. In each prison, there's 10 total of those. The Tennessee Department of Corrections Sergeant and Corporal at each Tennessee prison to serve as staff for the Institutional Investigator. There's 10 sergeants and 10 corporals. And the Disciplinary Board Sergeant at each Tennessee prison, there's 10 of those as well, which makes up to 57. Again, they're going to be still in the same real estate that they are now. They'll just be operating under a different umbrella.
Chairman Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just wanting to know, is it too late to let Representative Salinas go in front of Chairman Hudson?
Let me explain my bill to you.
No,
it might not have been the best call I've made today.
My question to the sponsor, what about the people, they will not have to replace, and you might have mentioned that a minute ago, but I didn't hear it. Will they not have to replace those people that you're moving? Will TDOT not have to replace those people? Is that where the physical note is coming from, you think?
I think that's how physical read it.
Okay.
But no, if you have a sergeant sitting at a desk at Riverbend, he'll still sit at the desk at Riverbend. He just will not answer, does not have to answer, or will be supervised by TDOC at Riverbend.
Okay.
He will be supervised by this supervisor in a different set of real estate over here.
So he would still have the same responsibilities that it normally has?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Spot.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hosey, Representative Mark brought up an interesting question when he asked about the private prisons, and you sort of just went by that, simply saying, well, they're under separate contract. But in my opinion, right now, the private prisons are getting much of the negative in this state when it comes to prisons. Why would you not try to put them under the same oversight?
Actually, I agree with you 100%. The 4 core civic institutions seem to be under a whole lot more scrutiny, but it seems like they're under a whole lot more scrutiny because of the conduct that goes on in those penitentiary. But when we started this bill and started down this road, I was told that I could not actually affect that with this bill because of the specific contract that the state has with them. I don't know any other way to answer that, but that's what I was told.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lieutenant, my understanding of this is that this particular board that you're talking about, which would be the top of the umbrella, that's appointed by the legislature, correct?
Well, the board was appointed by three from the governor, 3 from the Speaker of the House, and 3 from the lieutenant governor that made up this board. Then they elected their own executive director. this executive director would actually be over the director of investigations that will supervise these 57 people.
Chairman.
So by doing so, having 3, 3, and 3, is there a place that we can go and pull up this particular board and see who's sitting on that board?
You can pull up on the website for the Sentencing Oversight Board. Will name each one of them, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Is there any further questions?
I might add one thing. Right now this year, we have more homicides than we've ever had in Tennessee penitentiaries ever. We have more rapes than we've ever had. We have more assaults on staff than we've ever had. We have more assaults on other inmates than we ever have. We've had more attempted suicides than we've ever had, and we have more suicides than we've ever had. I sincerely think that proper investigation of all these things is absolutely necessary to begin to fix some of this.
All right. Any further questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would announce the vote.
You have 7 ayes, 0 noes, and 1 present not voting.
Chairman, you move out to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you.
Thank you for your.
And then we will move to item number 16, House Bill 2602 by Representative Salinas. And I don't see an amendment. Is that correct? I'll need a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. This is HB 2690. It's a transparency and due process bill. When individuals are housed in Tennessee facilities under federal detention agreements, families and attorneys sometimes struggle.
Let me stop for
Sorry.
just a second. Is it House Bill 2602?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Oh, did I read the wrong number? I think I did.
Yeah.
I read what did I read?
Okay, I believe you gave us the Senate
I
bill
gave you the
number.
wrong number. Yes,
Yeah,
let me scratch
okay.
that.
Yeah,
quick before.
House Bill 2602.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a
All right, go ahead.
So, House Bill 2602. So when individuals are housed in Tennessee facilities under federal detention agreements, families and attorneys sometimes struggle to determine where that person is being held. This bill ensures that basic identifying information is available to the people that are so that people are not held without their loved ones being able to find them. So across the country here in the U.S., U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents have been mistakenly detained in immigration enforcement actions due to clerical errors, misidentification, people often sharing the same name. This is not to highlight cases that have been detained rightly so. These are people that have made mistakes or happen to have the same name as somebody else or have been misidentified. So when these mistakes happen, families and attorneys struggle to determine where their person is being held. The lack of transparency can delay legal representation and prolong wrongful detention. So what this bill does is ensures that when someone is housed in a Tennessee detention facility under a federal detention agreement, basic information about that person must be disclosed upon request. And the information that would be required to be disclosed would be the full legal name of the person being detained, the date of birth, and the date of intake into the facility, and then the name and the location of the detention facility. That information must be provided to the person, their attorney, a family member, or a court within 24 hours. This ensures that detained individuals have reasonable access to legal counsel and communication with their family and are not treated more restrictively than other detainees. This bill does not interfere with federal immigration enforcement. I really want to highlight that. So, Mr. Chairman and members, I respectfully asked for a favorable vote on this bill.
Okay, we heard an explanation. Is there a question for our sponsor? We do. Representative Martin,
Move the previous question.
previous question has been called. Is there any objection? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes and 6 noes.
Representative, the bill fails. And that'll bring us to item number 17, House Bill 1937, also by Representative Salinas. We have a motion. We have a second. And don't see any amendments on there. So Representative, you're recognized.
So this bill is the Tennessee Freedom from Unlawful Immigration Detention Act. Thank you, Chairman and committee. This bill protects Tennesseans from being wrongfully detained without a judicial warrant. ICE immigration detainers are administrative requests, not judicial warrants. They are issued by federal agents, not judges. Because of that, courts across the country have raised serious Fourth Amendment concerns when local law enforcement holds someone solely based on an ICE detainer. ICE detainees have mistakenly led to detention of ICE detainers have mistakenly led to the detention of U.S. citizens and lawful residents. This has happened all across the country when a person, again, is misidentified, records are inaccurate, or someone has the same name as another individual. When that happens, it is our local government and local taxpayers who face the legal liability of those mistakes. Federal courts have ruled that local governments can be sued for unconstitutional detention when they hold someone solely on an ICE detainer. This bill what it simply says is that Tennessee law enforcement cannot detain someone for immigration purposes unless ICE presents a valid judicial warrant. This judicial warrant must be signed by a judge, establish probable cause, and specifically authorize detention. The bill also prevents law enforcement from holding someone longer than they would be otherwise if resealed under state law. Detaining someone without judicial warrant can violate the Fourth Amendment, and the courts have already ruled that ICE detainers do not provide legal authority for local detention. This bill ensures that Tennessee law enforcement follows constitutional standards, avoids unlawful detention, protects taxpayers from lawsuits, and this bill does not interfere with federal immigration enforcement. ICE can still arrest and detain individuals under federal authority. The bill simply says Tennessee officers should not hold someone without a judicial warrant. The fiscal note states that the bill has no significant impact, and in fact, clarifies that the rules may actually reduce liability risks for counties and sheriffs. Mr. Chairman, I respectfully ask for a positive vote on this, and I stand ready for question.
Representative Chisholm, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the sponsor, have you seen a lot of, have cases been thrown out because they haven't had judicial warrants?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't talk over each other, I don't mind exchange.
Yes, and what we're seeing is the majority of, it opens up for habeas corpus litigation when people aren't giving due process or the judicial warrants that are being served do not match the people that they're being taken in. So we have seen that across the country, and we've seen people be released because of that mismatch or not having the right charge with the right person or the right detention for that individual that was actually taken in.
Have you seen it cost taxpayers a lot of money?
Yes, I think these are in the early stages right now. These are things that are happening. So these are currently in litigation. I don't have an exact number because these are, the ramp up that we just saw across the country are leading to these lawsuits. These lawsuits have come up. These court decisions have come up and have said that, these people were wrongly detained. And then now is when these lawsuits are happening regarding suing counties, cities, sheriff's departments for unlawful detention. So there will be numbers that come out. We don't have those numbers right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Martin.
The previous question.
Previous question has been called without objection. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
House Bill 1937 fails. And we move to item number 18, House Bill 1482, also by Representative Salinas. We have a motion and a second, and I don't see, is there an amendment on this one or no?
No.
No, okay. Representative, you're recognized.
I'm pulling it up on my
Okay.
1482. This bill, HB 1482, is a safe spaces bill. It makes sure that our schools, as well as our private places of worship, are not used as staging areas or to detain people. I want to be clear about this. This bill does not stop ICE detentions. It just says that they can't take place in these areas. ICE will still be able to serve the warrants that they are trying to serve, just not at a school or a place of worship. Our schools, we've seen videos of ICE detentions. This is something that has been escalated, that has often led to a lot of violence. I think that this bill, what it aims to do is to make sure that we're protecting our students, all students, from ICE interactions, and making sure that our teachers have good working environments. Our teachers are tasked with a lot already. They're teaching kids that are coming to school hungry. They're having to manage drills and teach the curriculum and make sure that they're teaching their students and meeting the standards that we set out with high stake testing. I don't think we should add ICE to the mix. So the census determined that there are about 24,000 undocumented children from the age of 5 to 18 here in Tennessee. Of those children, around 22,000 are enrolled in Tennessee schools. So what is the effect that immigration enforcement has on our school? eWeek Research Center gave a survey to 693 educators last fall, the fall of 2025, and found that half of the educators who work with immigrant families expressed fear or anxiety resulting from an increased efforts in ICE detentions. 25% of teachers who work with immigrant families said they saw reduced student attendance and noticed that their students were disengaged. Similarly, about a fourth of teachers working with immigrant families saw an increased need in counseling, support, and services, and a reduction in family engagement. Analysis from the KFF, a policy organization, used data from the 2023 ACS and data from the Education Commission of the states to find the following. 10% to 20% of school-age children in Tennessee live with a non-citizen adult. This analysis also highlights that since TISA allocation numbers are based on enrollment averages, schools could see a decrease in funding and a decline in school attendance from the fear of immigration the fear that immigrant families face. A study released from the National Bureau of Economic Research used test scores data from a large county-wide school district in Florida and immigration arrest data to track the impact of increased enforcement after President Donald Trump took office, and found that each percentage point increase in immigration enforcement intensify reduction of Spanish-speaking students' scores on state tests by amount equivalent to about 10 to 15 points on the SAT. 30% of studies districts in ELL, that's similar to ESL, like English as a second language. 15% were foreign-born. This effect was both for Spanish-speaking immigrants and U.S. citizen students. This should concern us. This could be concerning to Tennessee, given that ELL students still lag behind in proficiency. The study found that those at the least risk are those who are achieving above proficiency. There are an estimated 10,000 undocumented students enrolled in schools here in Tennessee. That figure was as a result of the Immigration Policy Institute. But more than 87,000 English learners. That means that we have a lot of English learners that are here legally, and that are being negatively impacted by ICE presence in schools. UCLA gave a survey to 600 high school principals across the U.S. on the impact of immigration enforcement in educational settings. And the report found that more than 2/3 of U.S. public schools were impacted due to the heightened concerns of students from immigrant families about their well-being and the well-being of their families. A strong majority of U.S. public high schools experienced declines in the attendance and learning of students from immigrant families. More than 1/3, 35.6% of U.S. public high schools experienced incidents of bullying directed towards students from immigrant families. At least half of the U.S. public high schools surveyed have taken actions to address the needs of students from immigrant families as best they can through counseling and providing staff with clear policy and protocols. Other reports highlight how immigration enforcement traumatizes young children. The anxiety and fear experienced at such young age results in long-term mental health issues.
I mentioned that you're coming up real close on your 5-minute.
Okay.
Okay.
I have more data and figures, but I think the best example I have is this high school student that was detained leaving school right across from my district. And that detention has had an impact on the administration. I have visited with the leaders of the school. There has been walkouts at the school. There have been parents, both English-speaking, immigrant, everybody is in shock about what happened in that school. That school is in Representative Miller's district.
Okay. We do have a question from Representative Miller, I believe. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a good bill. I support it. Of course, you know that. Certainly do not mean to make light of it. I should have asked the questions in reference to the other bills, and again, not to make light of any of it. I think it's good. It's a common sense bill, just like the others were. But if you had an opportunity to speak to Stephen Miller, what would you say to him about this bill?
I would say that.
I'm not exactly sure that that's on the bill. So,
Mr. Chairman, it's on the bill. I put it in the premises of the question.
I'll
about
let
the
you
bill.
respond. Yeah.
I would say, again, our teachers and our students are under a lot of stress already. And it takes true leadership to bring communities together. We have seen this be divisive. And divisiveness here and with the adults is different than divisiveness with kids. These are children below the age of 18 that are going to be impacted for the rest of their lives. And it's not going to be just the immigrant kids that get impacted or traumatized. It's going to be all our kids. And I would say, is that what you want for our country?
Right. And
We have people signed up to testify. I don't know what the protocol.
we've got some more questions here, I think, from Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sponsor, you give some figures at the very first of when you started explaining the bill, dealing with, I think it was immigrant children that are registered in our schools. Is that just legal kids, or does this include illegal aliens?
You can respond. Yeah.
So this is an estimate based on the census. There isn't anything that says, that we can drill down. This is the best estimate based on the U.S. Census. It says about 24,000 undocumented children between the age of 18, and about 22,000 of those kids are enrolled in Tennessee schools. So the figure says undocumented. We don't know what that means exactly. It could be people that have DACA. It could be THP. There's oftentimes here, there's very black and white. You're documented or you're not. But we have a whole slew of people that are in the process or are part of different types of visas or orders that are in place that technically aren't documented. DACA recipients, technically, they're not documented, but they are through this executive order, right? So they call them documented. So I think the figures, I think that's why some of this data has been hard, but that's the best that we have based on the U.S. Census.
Thank you. And my final question would be on those that are documented. I'm trying to work it through in my brain to understand it completely. Do they receive funding from the state when they register for one of our schools?
Does the school receive funding? Is that what you're? The school just counts how many people are in school and aren't truant, and that's how they receive their funding.
So non-English speaking student that is not here legally, we are providing funds to the school to educate that child, correct?
Under the U.S. Constitution, that is correct, and their parents do pay taxes.
Okay. I was really done until you said that. So my question would be, how are they paying taxes if we're not aware of them? If they're here illegally and they don't get a tax notice, so why would they be paying taxes?
So you receive a TIN number. You can also be undocumented and have a social security number. And that's how you pay federal taxes. As for state taxes, just like you and me pay sales tax, so does everybody that buys anything in our state. Property tax, if someone buys a house, they can pay property taxes as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Martin.
Move the previous question.
Previous question's been called. Is there any objection? Seeing we do have objection. So if we would, all in favor of previous question, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. We are on the board with House Bill 1482. Madam Clerk, if you open the board for voting, and Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 2 ayes, 6 noes, and 0 present not voting.
House Bill 1482 fails. Thank you. Yes, Representative Miller.
Another parliamentary inquiry.
Yes.
In reference to if there were people on the list that were approved by the chairman, by you, and this committee to speak.
It states here that if requested, they did not, they say if requested by the, on there. So there was no request.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have HJR 863 by Representative Lynn. We have a motion. We have a second. Motion and a second. And Representative Lynn, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This bill is actually Speaker Sexton's bill, and I'm honored to carry this for him. This resolution is asking Congress to change the law so that Tennessee can do something very important. Contraband cell phones are a serious problem in prisons. A 2020 survey found over 25,000 contraband phones in just 20 state prisons. Inmates use these smuggled phones to communicate with people outside of prison, to run drug trafficking operations, coordinate violence, run fraud schemes, and threaten victims and witnesses. States cannot currently use cell phone jamming technology as federal law prevents them from doing so. This limits the tools corrections facilities have to combat illegal activity. With the passage of H.R. 2350, it would give states another tool to combat crimes from behind bars. The ultimate goal of this is public safety, as it would protect victims and law enforcement, and also the general public. In conclusion, this resolution urges Congress to pass legislation that gives states the ability to stop contraband cell phones use in prisons in order to strengthen public safety.
All right. We've heard the explanation, and I believe we have Representative Martin.
Forget it.
You good? You good? Okay. Anyone else? Chairman Crawford.
Previous question.
Previous question's been called. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, if you would, announce the vote.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
HJR 863 passes and moves on to full committee. And I believe you are also up on House Bill 2469.
I am, sir.
We have a motion and a second, and I believe there is an amendment. Is that correct?
There is. I have drafting code 015758.
758. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And it does rewrite the bill. Is that correct?
It does. It
We'll go
completely
ahead and get it on the, do we have a motion on the, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The bill is amended and you are on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This legislation is a fiscally responsible, veteran-centered reform that strengthens Tennessee's commitment to those who have served us. We have thousands of veterans who qualify for federal aid and attendance benefits, but are not receiving them, and this bill is an attempt to fix that. Why this matters: when veterans don't receive the federal benefits they've earned, Tennessee taxpayers pick up the tab through Medicaid long-term care at up to $56,000 per veteran. By helping just 6,000 eligible veterans across access federal benefits that they've earned, the state saves more than $345 million. So how does that work? Well, instead of the veteran going on Medicaid, the veteran would receive their federally earned benefit to help them pay for in-house services or long-term care. There are safeguards in this bill. They've built in strict guardrails where no fees to veterans, no annuity sales, and no international data centers and mandatory background checks. Only highly experienced and accredited providers with proven track records can participate. This is one of the rare opportunities where doing the right thing for veterans also saves the state hundreds of millions of dollars, and it shifts long-term care costs from Tennessee taxpayers to the federal government where they belong. And if you recall, many of us have loved ones who received Medicaid for in-home services or long-term care. When our loved one died, their estate had to pay back Medicaid. This is a benefit that doesn't need to be paid back. And that certainly makes the veteran feel very, very good knowing that they have something to leave their loved ones. So this is a win for veterans and a win for families, a win for taxpayers. And I respectfully ask for your support, and I can answer any questions, sir.
We do have someone signed up to testify on the bill. If there's no objection, we'll go out of session to hear from Victoria Collier. So we are out of session. If you would just have a seat there and just give us your name and who you represent for the record, please. And you have 3 minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to address you on this bill. I am Victoria Collier. I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force from 1989 to 1995 during the Desert Storm era, and also the United States Army Reserve during 2021 to 2024 during Iraqi freedom. I'm also an elder law attorney for 24 years, and I am accredited by the VA to represent veterans. And I own a couple different businesses that do help veterans. This bill specifically benefits Tennessee veterans in that there's over about 303,000 veterans and their widows of veterans who could access what's called the wartime pension. It's a very specific type of benefit that is underutilized because it's unknown, even to the VA and veteran service organizations quite often. And it's specific for when they are over the age of 65 in need of long-term care, such as home health care, assisted living care, and certainly nursing home care. When people don't know about it or they are not able to access it, then by default, they do go on Medicaid to be able to receive access to care. This bill also specifically benefits the state of Tennessee by being able to save that $345 million a year, not just in general, but a year, by reducing the number of people getting Medicaid, which are state funds versus the federal funds. This bill does not overlap or contradict anything that is already in the VA laws that pertain to applying for VA benefits. This bill specifically is for pre-application purposes that assist a proposed claimant in assessing whether or not they are eligible for this benefit, helps them assemble their materials to present to the VA or a VSO, and so that they're ready to go through the system. 3 things often happen when veterans or widows of veterans apply for this benefit. First of all, we have to recognize that they are elderly, they are ill, and they need long-term care. So often it's their family members applying for this benefit. Often their family members are veterans who never even knew this benefit existed. I can tell you personally, after I served, I didn't know that when I was 75 years old and I had a stroke, I might be able to get this benefit to help me stay out of a nursing home and get a higher level of care. But the 3 things that often happen is, number 1, they don't know about it, so they don't apply for it. So their health declines, and then they go in the Medicaid rolls, and then they pass away. The second is they know about it, they apply for it, but they don't know how to present it. So they...
Ma'am, you're at your 3 minutes. Okay. If you can wrap it up.
So they die waiting. This is a way that does not take the place of the VA. It helps the VA get benefits for Tennessee veterans.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Do we have any questions for the guest? Seeing none, we will go back into session. Or do we have any questions for our sponsor? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Wasn't looking for the list here. Chairman Powers.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for bringing this bill forward. I was unaware the veterans benefit that you're speaking about too. And I think we know people that probably would have qualified for it, ended up going on Medicaid. And one person that I think that might have qualified for it is our former majority leader, Gerald McCormick. And he was somebody that served and under this particular bill, I think he would qualify for that particular pension, or I'm sorry, that particular aid. And with your permission, when it goes to a full committee, if it does, I'd like to name it the Gerald McCormick Act for the veterans. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. All right. Next on our list is Chairman Crawford. Oh,
Never mind.
Never mind. Okay. All right. Is there any further questions? If not, Madam Clerk, open the board for voting. Madam Clerk, take the vote.
You have 6 ayes, 0 noes, and 0 present not voting.
Okay. House Bill 2469 moves on to full committee. Thank you. We have completed our final calendar. If I did not miss anything, and Chairlady Carringer.
I just want to say thank you very much, Chairman Eldridge, and to all your staff. Done an excellent job, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I can honestly say you're only as good as the people you've got around you, and I really appreciate this committee. I appreciate legal. This gentleman right here keeps me straight, and that young lady over there takes really good care of me. So you're only as good as the people you have around it. I thank the clerk down here. She's done an excellent job for us. So without objection. Oh, and Becky, yeah, Lord have mercy. My assistant Becky in the office, and I don't know what I would do without her. She knows where all the bodies are buried down here. So if there's no objection, Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I echo the statements from our members here. You've done an excellent job. Very proud of you. And I would make a motion that this committee be closed to the call chair.
All right. The motion's been made, so we will close the committee subject to call of the chair, and I thank each and every one of you. It's been a pleasure working with you.